Hello, my name is Amber Liermann and I'm sitting here within Maricopa. I've lived in Maricopa for 16 years and I am a counselor at Maricopa Unified School District.
And I am Bob McGovern. I am the Associate Publisher here in Maricopa, and we'll be with you today as Amber hopefully takes some questions from the community, and I'll have a couple of my own. Let's just kind of dive in and learn a little bit more about you. You haven't been in the political scene in Maricopa, so you said that you're an exceptional student services counselor. You've been that for 16 years at the school district here. You have a master's degree in counseling. What do you think is the most rewarding part of that job for you?
Being inspired by the youth here in Maricopa. I get to work with them every day and I get to see them overcome challenges, develop their skill sets, do things they didn't think they were able to do. And so that's my biggest inspiration is the youth here in Maricopa and working with them on a daily basis.
And would that guide you as a council member?
Absolutely. Working with students and their families, listening to the challenges that they are facing, and also listening to the rewards and benefits of living in Maricopa and how it's positively impact their family.
Okay. You have 3 children in the district.
I do.
You run Copa Closet, which is a program you started to provide basic needs to K through 12 students who need them. It is sponsored by the school district, if I'm right. And you're also a foster parent. You enjoy working out, you've told us in the past, and ride a motorcycle.
I do.
Okay. So I guess one question I have is, you've got your own children. You have your kids at school who you called your children earlier.
Absolutely.
And you foster children. Why are children such a huge part of your life? I mean, obviously we understand you wanting to have your own children, but it seems like this is the central theme in your life.
Absolutely. What a privilege it is to impact other children and then to be impacted by them, right? So they are our future. They're the biggest investment that we have. So what a better way to spend my life and my career is investing in them and learning from them. So they inspire me to work hard. They give me the courage to sit here because I'm speaking what I teach, right? Mm-hmm. I teach them that they can do anything. And so I am speaking out what I have taught them to do by taking a risk and taking a challenge and learning something new for myself.
And why did you start Copa Closet?
So Maricopa Unified School District was meeting the needs of students on an individual basis. So nurses and teachers were buying things for students like shoes, notebooks, things like that were needed. And at some point 2 years ago, the counseling department realized that we needed to meet that at a higher level. There was a bigger need. So we decided to come together and make it a program. And then that program has kind of exploded. And the students have become so excited about this program that they asked me if it could become a club. So last year it became Copa Closet Club, which I sponsor. Okay. And so now we have volunteers and youth basically helping run this club. And it's just been an amazing experience. Our community has come and just supported these kids' needs with food, school supplies, jackets, shoes, hygiene products. It's been so exciting. Churches have participated, individual groups have participated. We've gotten lots of donations. It's been so exciting. I just want to thank the community for all their support. It's been awesome.
And you've had that support well before the pandemic, right? I mean, there's been a lot of that in the community since the pandemic, but you've had a lot of support since you launched this program.
Absolutely. As soon as the need was identified and communicated to the community, there was just an abundance of donations coming in. And also the administration at the high school has been so generous with space and time and just allowing that club to grow into what it is today. So also the administration has just been awesome and supportive. That's great.
And how do you know that Copa Closet has been appreciated in the community?
Well, one of my favorite stories is a little girl came, she had just moved here from out of state, and she came in and she was looking for a sweater. And she was walking around and she said to me, "This makes me feel like home, just being there." And I think what she might have been feeling is the kindness that's filled in that room. Because a sweater is not just a sweater, it's kindness. It's a gesture of kindness. Another story is a tall boy came in and he was looking for like a hoodie, and which are very popular with the kids. And he found one, and neither of us said a word to each other, but he just gave me a big hug and he just walked out. And so that's what's happening in that room. And then also students come in who don't have a need, but they just come in out of curiosity and they just want to volunteer. So they come in and they clean, organize, sort, and they bring in donations themselves. So it's kind of a full cycle. Kids are receiving, but also it's an opportunity for students to give.
That's great. Copa Closet remained operational during the pandemic.
Yes.
Why was that important that it not shut down when everything else was happening?
We have community members who are giving donations on a regular basis, and we have students relying on those resources. And so through the district office, we're able to get those needs met. So it's a team effort, and that team has not shut down, so it's still functioning.
Okay, great. Okay. Joanne and Bob Butler have reached out over Facebook. Questions are welcome, obviously, to the people listening and watching out there. The comment in question is, the schools are terrible here. What can you do? What can you do to help with the bullying and the drugs?
So the school has a plan in place for bullying through the office. And so I think continuing to follow that plan and communicate that plan to students and the parents. We also have many social service agencies in Maricopa, like the Awesome Youth Coalition, and other agencies that focus on youth that can teach children skills, social skills, in interacting with each other. And I'm talking about children who may experience bullying as a victim, and also children who may be doing bullying behaviors. And so we want to make sure that we're addressing both of those children's needs in a proactive way. But we have a program at the high school to address those issues, and actually at all grade levels to address those issues. So communicating, I would encourage parents to communicate those concerns to the office.
I will tell you, as a parent, I have seen that most, my own opinion is that most of those bullying programs are kind of window dressing. They don't address the root problem that happens in hallways and classrooms, and you're in the schools every day. Is it different here in Maricopa, or is there enough being done right at the root of the problem to make a difference in kids' lives?
One of the exciting things is our staff, who really put a huge effort in building individual relationships with our students. So when students are experiencing things like that, they have a trusted adult that they can go to and say, "Hey, this is happening to me." One thing I think that's really helped is this year we improved our camera system in our school significantly to include sound, and it's a better image. So those kind of issues that are happening, we can monitor those a lot better by using those kind of systems. But I always feel so concerned when parents or students are communicating a bullying concern. We want to make sure that those concerns are communicated to like a counselor, administration, so we can get their concern very specifically and then go and address those concerns. Okay. So I hope that is happening.
Yeah, I hope so too. Steve Fenton asks, what's your qualifications for council? And I'll just kind of give that to you to address however you want.
Yeah, I think I've demonstrated the qualities of a council member by being involved in my community right when I moved here 16 years ago. I have volunteered in many different capacities. I've served on the board for Hope Women's Center. I've served on the board for the Awesome Youth Coalition. I'm currently serving on the board for Maricopa Veterans Care Center. I volunteered at the police department, the Family Advocacy Center. I volunteer in my church. So I have been actively involved in the community. I listen to families of students every day for 16 years. So I've heard the concerns and the positive things that are happening in our community. I've built relationships with agencies and businesses in our community, and I've also built relationships with community leaders. I've been attending the city council meetings, and I attended the most recent city budget meeting. So I am very active in our community.
Excellent. Let me just follow up on that. You are a political newcomer. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage as you seek election to the council? And what unique perspective might you be able to bring to city government?
The reason I'm running is because this is a critical time in the development of the city. There are decisions that are being made right now are going to impact the city for a long time. My children live in this community, and the children that I serve in our district live in this community. And so I want to make sure that this community is the best that it can be, and I want to participate in the decisions that are being made. One of my big passions is social services and making sure that we're supporting the agencies that are here and encouraging other agencies to come here to support our families who need those type of services to achieve the hopes and dreams that they had when they moved here.
Nice. Okay. Let's see. Bill Robertson asks, do you think the recent city council ethics complaint process was fair and legitimate?
That was a tough meeting. I watched that and I could see the concerns of both sides. I have the highest respect for Mayor Price and the city council members, and I trust that they made the decision that they did in the most prudent way. So yes, I agree with the way that meeting went.
Okay. All right.
I'd like to say one more thing.
Go ahead.
I think it is an advantage to be a newcomer. I'm building relationships with Mayor Price and the city council members. I respect all of them, and I would be humbled to work with them. I come with an open mind, with creative ideas, and I have a lot of passion and enthusiasm for this opportunity, and so I am ready to work very hard. I want to make the concerns of this community, or these community members, my concerns, and so I'm hoping that is definitely an advantage.
Okay. Somebody follows up. Do you think it's fair that to jump back to the ethics question, do you think it's fair that residents aren't able to make a formal complaint? Do you think residents should be able to have more of a say in how their council members behave, operate? Is that worth changing?
I think they have a say in their vote.
Okay.
We have a primary coming up on August 4th, and they have an opportunity to vote, and so they do get a say. And I take that very seriously. And
Okay.
so I would encourage everyone to vote and make their voice heard.
Okay. As long as we're kind of on this theme, one last question. There's been a lot of contention, seemingly, among Solomon Council in recent weeks and months. You have called yourself an excellent team player.
Yes.
How will you promote mutual respect and unity on the council if you are able to be elected?
I'm an active listener. I'm solution focused. I'm a problem solver. I'm definitely a team player. I advocate on the behalf of vulnerable people, and I try and keep the issue the main focus. So being a newcomer, I think that is an advantage because I really just want to focus on the issue. There's no other things going on. And so making sure that we're making the best decisions for the community members is my highest priority.
Great. Do you agree with how the governor and the city have managed during the pandemic in terms of closing facilities, opening facilities? You taken any issue with any of that, or were you mostly supportive?
I was really happy to see that Mayor Price waited until the recommendations became mandates before he closed facilities, and that's what I was happy to see, that he was protecting our freedoms and waiting to declare a state of emergency until it was mandated.
Okay. And you agreed with the reopening of the facilities?
Yeah, we're following CDC guidelines, Arizona Department of Health, so we're following those, and I agree that it is time to do that.
Okay. Now, part of that is the school board meets Wednesday to kind of, I guess, start talking about getting back to school, reopening the schools. Do you think schools should reopen in July?
I really am hoping to. I know that they're making really difficult decisions to make sure that they're safe, right? And so just making sure that we are able to provide a safe environment for students. And I'm hoping that we can definitely do that by July 23rd. That is our goal. So obviously safety is first, and I'm hoping that we can achieve that on time.
You're probably familiar with some of the CDC guidelines for reopening schools. Physical distancing in classrooms, on buses. Obviously that presents a huge challenge for not only, the Maricopa School District, but all districts across the nation. Is it doable?
We're going to make it work. I'm really excited that the counseling department is going to be meeting on a weekly basis throughout the summer to make sure that we are being proactive in meeting the social emotional needs of students with all these adjustments. Children really feel the impact of change, especially little ones. Very small changes can cause a lot of stress in children. And so we are really wanting to make sure that we're providing information to parents and to the children in advance so they have time to process that. And so we are going to work as hard as we can to make good decisions that are healthy for kids, and then also how we communicate those changes to families and our students is really, really important. So we want to make sure that's done in a supportive and healthy way. Change is hard for students and for their families, and I do anticipate obviously some changes that will be happening.
Sure. Okay. Questions keep bouncing in and out of here. Okay. All right. My bad. So somebody is asking, are you a conservative?
I am.
Tell us about how that will shape your tenure on a council.
How I define that is personal responsibility. Part of my journey of what's brought me here today is taking responsibility for my life and my children and my community. And so that's how I partly define conservatism, is making sure that I am being fully responsible for myself. I'm fiscally conservative as well, and so I think that my viewpoints would fit well with the current city council and mayor fiscally as well.
Okay. Let's see. Jake Romero asks, are you in favor of projects that focus on the development of affordable housing, manufacturing facilities, and other infrastructure projects? How would you go about it if elected?
What I am in support of is providing a well-rounded community, which means an inclusive community. What I mean by that is providing an opportunity for people in different parts of their life experience. My daughter just graduated this weekend. It was really exciting.
Congratulations.
It was awesome. Thank you. And she also just turned 18 in March. And so she's kind of going into this, new part of her life, which we're really excited about. And I do not want her to feel like she has to leave Maricopa to continue her life, because there is an opportunity for her here. And so I think of our college students, we want them to feel welcome in Maricopa and have them have options for living here. And then my dad and mom lived here for about 10 years, which was awesome. And my mom died, it'll be 8 years in September. And my dad was living in their house, and then her dog died a little bit after that. And then that's when he decided he didn't want to live in his home anymore. And so he ended up choosing to live with our family for a couple years, which was a huge blessing. But I think if there had been other options for him in our community, I think he may have chosen a different option than living with us and being a little bit more independent. Now he lives in Texas, and he's getting married this next weekend, which is very exciting.
Wow.
But these are people who are in transition in their life. And I don't want anyone in Maricopa to feel like they have to leave Maricopa in order to get through a transition that they're going through. So I do support different options other than just, senior community and a family type setting. I think we do need apartments and do need options for people so they feel welcome here.
Okay. James Dawson asks, everyone wants new business to come to town. What specifically are you going to do that no other council person is doing to attract business?
So I know our council is working really hard, and so that's why I hesitated a little bit. They are working really hard. We are working so hard at getting a hospital here. It's urgent for us to get a hospital here. And so I know council is working, trying to figure out what is the delay and trying to remove any barriers or delays so that we can get that project started right away. We want to make sure that the process for business owners is smooth. So when a business owner comes here and they're interested, we want to make sure that they feel welcome and that that process can be a smooth process. We don't want them to feel like they can go to another community and have that process be any easier. So I want to continue to support business development and also promote businesses. So as a council member, I would want to definitely promote businesses that are here ready to serve our community and make connections, help them make connections with other businesses and community members so they can be successful here.
Okay. The city is working right now on a budget, as you referenced earlier. You said you've been to some of those meetings?
Yes.
Will there be budget cuts necessary, and what are your budgetary priorities for the city?
So our emergency services is a huge priority. They did add an additional police officer, which is very exciting. And so making sure that those services are continuing to be developed and grow with the growth of the city, I think is very important. We do have an emergency fund in place, which is awesome. So for things like COVID right now with different expenses that are unusual that come up, we do have that in the budget, which is great. And continued growth and development. And that's also something that's really important, is with the growth of the city is going to be the growth of our economy and budget. And so I want to continue to, I encourage growth in our city, and not everyone is. And so that is where I stand on that, is I do want the city to continue to grow and develop.
Okay. What is your position on plans for the new high school?
I'm so excited. I'm really excited. We need space, and I was so excited to hear about that. It's going to be great for our students, great for our staff, great for programs to have space to develop. So it's going to be awesome. I couldn't be more excited.
Are you worried about the cost and the impact it has on perhaps people on fixed incomes or things like that? I know we're getting some money, but I'm assuming some of that money would be taxpayer money, obviously. Is there a balance there? Balancing the taxes and the needs of the students? Absolutely.
From what I understand, the school is currently being funded through federal funds.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my understanding right now. And it'll be done in phases, is my understanding. And so those changes and development of that school will be done in stages.
Okay.
When the money is available.
Okay. All right. one very hot topic we're asking all the candidates that come through is Route 347.
Yes.
I'm new in town, but already I know that 347 has been an issue here for years. You know, the fatal crashes and the rush hour traffic jams. So a couple questions. How important is it to widen 347? And what can you as a city council member do to make sure that that happens?
We have to fix 347. It's urgent. Mayor Price serves on the board for Maricopa Association of Government, and he is working very hard to keep that issue a forefront on people's minds so that they are aware of the needs of 347. Another council member serves on 3 transportation committees, continuing to communicate the urgent need of developing 347. I think it's a multi-solution approach. I think we do need overpasses and lane expansion, and it will happen. It's probably our greatest growing pains in our city, and it's got to be fixed. Listening to our families who are commuting. As a school counselor, I hear the strain that it puts on our families, and it's got to be fixed as soon as possible. Our job as city council members is to make sure that people at all levels of government are aware of the urgent need of 347, and that's what I would like to do, is to make sure that everyone at every level is aware of this need we're really waiting for funds, and so making sure that we are ready and in position to request those funds is really what we need to be doing, and we are doing.
Can anything be done in the meantime to address the safety concerns?
The solutions that I have heard are the overpass and the lane expansion.
Okay.
That's what I am aware of.
Okay. How do you slow people down?
I don't know. That's a good question. Education, I'm sure, education. And just continuing to educate people about 347, the risks of that, and the expectations. So it's so important that we all care for our community members and be respectful of each other on the road, obviously.
Okay. Another safety issue in town is flooding, at least in some parts of town,
right.
not everywhere. Is enough being done to remove homes from the floodplain? What more can be done? How would you advocate for that?
That's a good question. My understanding is that they are working hard at making sure that our flood zones are accurate and making sure that those zones are being updated, meaning that they're accurately identified. And so I'm really happy to hear recently that some flood zones were kind of recalculated. And so I think continuing to monitor those and continuing to monitor any changes in those areas is really important to do.
Okay. We have a follow-up to the ethics policy. Somebody's asking, should there be an elected official citizen complaint review process as opposed to waiting for the next election? Should there be some other kind of process in place to raise concerns?
That's a really good question. I wish I had a better answer for this viewer. It is important that we trust our elected officials, and I'm hearing the concern from this person, and it is a concern of mine that we want to make sure that we're trusting the people who are in leadership. I apologize. I'm gonna want to look into further of a procedure that can, or maybe one is already in place, of when these concerns arise and how that person's need can be met. So I'm going to have to look into that after this. I apologize.
Fair enough. We talked about this. You are a mother of 3 children and also a foster parent. Tell us about the foster parenting experience in specific and why you do that.
Yeah. So I was raised, my parents were foster parents, and it was such an amazing experience to watch my parents parent other children that they loved and that we loved and accepted into our home and into our family. And because it was such a positive experience, it was something that I knew I wanted to do. My parents adopted 3 children, and it's just been a beautiful experience for me and my family, and I hoped to give that same experience to my children. So I have been a foster parent over 10 years, and it's been an absolute pleasure and privilege and honor. It's a very humbling experience, and they actually teach you way more and help you and change you way more than you could ever do them. And I hope to continue to do it for as long as I possibly can.
Okay. Just one question to kind of wrap things up here and make sure we don't have any more questions. I'm not seeing any right yet. So if you're elected, you'll have the opportunity to help shape the city's future. And you've addressed some of that here. What do you think that future should look like? And if you go 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, what do you kind of see as what your hopes are for the city?
I want to see continued economic development. I want to see continued business development. I would like to see 347 safe for our families. I would like to see a hospital right away. I would like to see veterans get more support, meaning that I would love to see them get services here in Maricopa locally, so they don't have to leave Maricopa to get their services met. My dad is a veteran, and everything he needed, he had to leave this community to get, and I didn't like to see that. So one of our goals with the Maricopa Veterans Care Center is to provide mental health and some basic medical services here in Maricopa so that our veterans don't have to leave. I would love to see more services for our senior community. They're such a thriving, awesome community, and they deserve to have a space and exciting events happening on a regular basis. So I would love to see that grown. Our arts community, we have so many talented, expressive members of our community, and they deserve an opportunity. Well, they have them, but continue to grow those opportunities here in our community is really exciting. And social services obviously is a huge passion of mine. We have families in our community who have parents, spouses, children with long-term medical and mental health issues. And many of these families who already have a little bit more stressful family environment are having to leave Maricopa often to get those mental health and medical needs met. And so I really would love to support the social service agencies that are in Maricopa. We have Impact, Maricopa Behavioral Health, and other agencies that service our community members. And I would love to support those agencies so they can expand their services and meet more needs of our community members.
Now, you have told us previously that you didn't think the current council was, I think your quote was, not fully aware of the need for social services. What can you do as a member of council to change that dynamic?
I think I've worked hard at building relationships with those agencies, and I want to continue to support them. So we have a good basis of agencies. They need support so that they can expand the services that they offer. And also just communicating that they're in our community, educating our community about the resources that are available in Maricopa, so that people aren't saying, well, there's no services here. There are services here. So we want to make sure that our community is educated about what is here and then support the agencies that are here. And I would love to see more agencies come. The Boys and Girls Club is opening soon, which is very exciting for our community. And so we want to welcome social service agencies here.
Okay. You mentioned the hospital.
Yes.
Why has the city struggled to get a hospital? And what can city council be doing that it hasn't already been doing? I know they're working on it.
Yes.
But what else can be done to try to speed up that process?
I think what is being done is just continuing to communicate the need, and asking if there's anything that we can do to support that from starting right away. And so that's what we can do. We have Dignity Health, who is wanting to build a hospital here. So we continue to partner with them and ask what we can do to help them to start. So just continuing to do that is communicating the need, the urgent need.
Okay. There's a question here. Have you read Vision 2040, the city's long-range study?
I have read parts of it.
Okay. What did you take away from it?
It's exciting. It's very exciting. And I know when I've talked to council members about their vision for Maricopa, they are so excited. And so I share that enthusiasm and that passion. I plan on living in Maricopa for a very long time. I don't plan on leaving ever, actually. And so I'm very invested in the future of this city. I'm hoping my children might live here, and the children also that I serve in the district, I'm hoping will continue to live here and be proud of their community, right? And so what I took away from that is the pride in our community, and that we want to continue to make decisions that bring our community members being proud of their community that they live in.
Okay. We've got one more question and we'll wrap it up. If you choose to answer it. Trump or Biden?
Trump.
Trump. Okay. We will leave that there then. Amber Liermann, thank you so much for joining us and our viewers today. And we wish you all the best with the campaign.
Thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.